actually you've got something there, and you've got kind of an audience already. If you develop it a little bit more, you might have a product that I might be interested in. That's the thinking behind the sort of.
I was going to add to that because I was really worried about the whole internet campaign, and I left it far too late when we did the website afterwards, and we're now releasing the album through Cutting Edge, and it's all really late in the day after the release of the film. And just touching upon what you said, you could, if you, in the future, I'd definitely set up the website if I could earlier, and sort of create a campaign online. That's what everybody tries to do. And if you can sort of get some of the behind-the-scenes filming and talking and blogging, that's all part of the beginning of that sort of snowball that we're trying to create.
I'm tweeting of that, which is just genius for this kind of stuff, because you get enough following and then you kind of release the news little by little, and then they can link back to your website, or they can link back to your YouTube account, and that helps.
And that could be a way that you make some money by sort of getting filmmakers like me on board and offering that sort of service to them.
Presumably that's good for investors as well, because if your investors can see that they've got 2,000 people watching a little trailer, what's the carry through for that? What's the likelihood that those people who watch the trailer are going to invest in the DVD or watch it, watch the movie?
Buy the DVD.
You've already got your audience there that you can demonstrate to investors. These guys are already interested. They're going to come and watch something big.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what your sort of development plan was, and it seems very much social media orientated at the moment with YouTube. And will you take that to sort of apps and that sort of thing, or would you like to go the DVD route?
Okay, that's a really, really good question, because it kind of touches the heart of the first decision that we made, basically, which is to only do it online, which is to never release anything physical.
Okay.
Well, I'm the head of the company, so that goes back to a personal decision of mine that I didn't want to spend any money on a technology that I very personally and very humbly believe is kind of a dinosaur right now. Yeah, basically. It's more expensive, and I don't think it's as practical, because when you release something online, you reach everybody at the same time. So long as you have a following already, so long as you're growing a following, you just release it, everybody can watch it. But either somebody has to go to a store, and we all know how the stores are doing right now with DVDs and CDs and Blu-rays even, or you need to send it to them. And I personally don't believe in that. Maybe, I mean, clearly many people are making a lot of money with this stuff, but I don't think that's the way things are going to develop in the world.
What about sort of like buying it on iTunes and buying it as an app rather than like a physical hard?
Genius. I like that, and that's one of the things we're working on. I mean, any type of online delivery, apps are cool, YouTube is cool, streaming on your own website, on your own platform is what I really like, and that's what we're about. Having a platform on our own, then we like to do that on the website. But anything that's online, and it doesn't need any cost for printing and delivering and trying to get people outside their houses just to go to a store, you can have events. Well, I like the idea of having something outside of somebody's home, okay? But you could have an event like this, in a place like this, where you watch the movie streamed online from my platform, just show it here. There's no need to bring a DVD or, kind of.
But in terms of sort of making money, I don't know if that's your aim, and I don't know how you sort of your view of it is, because it seems so different to sort of conventional ways. I mean, is your aim to make a lot of money from this?
Yeah.
Or
one of the reasons I started this, yeah. What was the question?
Just wondering sort of what your priorities are, whether they are to, make something that's really cool for that age group and develop it, or if it is all about money.
Well, no, it's
both, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just, it's a passion of mine, filmmaking, and just giving emotions to people to do that. So that's, I think, the first one.
I think most people who are in the film industry aren't necessarily in it primarily for money. I think you come in because you've got a creative urge and you want to do, this amazing business, which is fantastic. We all have slightly different ways of doing it. I mean, I'm sure, I wished I was a lawyer first, because then I'd financially be much more secure than we are now. But, at the end of the day, we all have bills to, well, most of us have bills to pay, and so you have to make a financial decision. But
it's also the future of business. You can't have a free service that has any future. money somewhere.
You've got to earn some money somewhere.
Yeah,
You know what I
But
like?
sponsorship
Yeah, that's what
is
that's
one of the
the
key
thing.
elements. You
Product
have enough
placement.
followers, then you will get people wanting to give you money to make more films, and then that's the.
You know, that's what I like about the idea that you need to just keep your eye on the money as well, because that keeps you more awake. It doesn't just leave you into your crazy fantasy world where you're trying to make the movie of your dreams. That's important, but if you have a financial aim, then you're going to start thinking more, you know, much harder about what people actually want, what they pay for. So that connects you to an audience better, I think.
Well, that's part of the discipline that I think everyone has to have as filmmakers. You have to have the discipline of knowing that you can, if you're fortunate enough, go and make whatever you want to make. But at the end of the day, you know, people like myself, we have to make films that have an audience, so that, you know, it works in a cyclical manner.
So you would tell us to be a businessman first and an artist second?
No, I think, well, it all comes down from saying, and I think it's all because it comes from art, because that's what you want to do. You want to create
So
something.
what we
But at the end
learned
of the
to do
day,
is-
you know, if I take 5 years to make a film, I mean, I don't know who's going to pay for my mortgage, you know, or put food in the fridge. And,
So we have to balance our sort of artistic designs with career maintenance, really. And that's, you know, what I think.
You've got to eat.
You got to
Yeah, to
eat.
eat,
You know, when
yeah.
you're 25, you can afford to eat less. Let's put it that
I don't know
way.
that.
But also, we've got responsibility to our investors. You know, like, that's what I've learned from the films I've made as well, is that I would like to have a continuing relationship with those investors and develop a portfolio of films with them. And to do that, I can't just make this great movie. I've got to also make them some cash. So,
But it's kind of selfish as well, isn't it? I mean, you know, one of the things I have to do is I have to answer to a whole raft of investors every week. You know, people like Patrick, and you know, they want to know where their money is going. And it's all great with backing film, and we all love it. We want to make the most beautiful film, but at the end of the day, I have, you know, 20 people that I have to report to every couple of weeks about how I'm spending their money or how I've lost their money. You know, and that's not very pleasant, to be honest. You know,
you can never predict, or can you?
you can't predict, no. So you just have to give your best judgment, and you look at a movie. You know, I look at a movie and I say, yeah, or a script or whatever. I think yes, that can be worth this much, but I can never be right all the time, unfortunately.
In a sense, a lot of that passion, though, is often what makes a film good anyway. So it's you really always look. I mean, I know it has to have an audience, and Revolver does very well, doesn't it? So making films for their audience. You know, look at the
they
artists.
made, you know, these films like Kidulthood and Adulthood, for example. I mean, I've not seen them; they're not really for me. But they were hugely successful. But you know, internationally, they've done no business whatsoever. So you have to earn all your money out of the UK. Now that's fine, and that is a business. And Revolver, you know, I deal with Revolver on a regular basis, and they are brilliant at it, and they're probably the best people at it at the moment for doing low-budget indie films that have an audience. You know, but you know, I do think the most important thing is to think about the audience and think about how you're going to get it out there. Because you know, someone else was talking about a drama. The problem with the drama is that it's got to be brilliant to find an audience. You know, I can go to my local film house, and as I was talking about going to the cinema, you know, I go to my local film house and see the most brilliant films from around the world. But you know, that is a much smaller audience, a much more difficult audience to target than going to the Odeon and you've got 10 screens and you're up against all the studios. You know, it's a very, very tricky business. That's the problem. And then you rely on everyone else supporting you. But it's I like this.